Hey 740D, this is Dr. Zitzman, and I wanted to talk to you about the group presentation. So I'm posting the names of people in groups. Some of you are not in groups, some of you will be providing a presentation independently, but I want to go over what I'm looking for and show you where those materials are today. So to do that, I'm going to have my partner, Niffler the Cockatiel, help me out by sharing my screen. So you'll see in Blackboard, if you come over to syllabus and assignment descriptions, in this folder, go down to major assignments and rubrics. In there, you'll see our discussion board information, information about the papers, and then here, the final group presentation. Now, I know there's a lot of words. Let me just do my best to explain verbally. I'm going to go based on this rubric, and I do use this rubric as a grading tool. So this is what I'm looking for whenever I'm reviewing your presentations. First of all, the topic is on an appropriate clinical social work topic, which it is, because of course, you already picked the topic. You're going to spend about half of your presentation time telling us about that topic. You're going to be teaching the class. What does this mean? So for example, boundaries. Great, that's a topic. What's the latest literature? Maybe you'll tell us how the literature has changed over time, how we've gone from more rigid boundary descriptions to pressing against those and showing the limitations of boundaries. Maybe you'll tell us about boundaries in terms of not only time, but emotional energy, in terms of self-disclosure. You can tell us about different types of boundaries, in other words. And you're going to tell me a little bit about how that topic connects to ethics. So the issue with boundaries is that we want to protect clients, right? We want to make sure that they are front and center of what we're doing. You might tell me about other things related to boundaries, etc. So anyway, this is just an example to say you're going to spend about half of your presentation time presenting on the topic with scholarly literature. You can use seminal scholarly literature works. You can use emerging literature. You can use your textbook, but I'm looking for a minimum of 3 references beyond just your textbook, okay? The syllabus has oodles of readings, tons of resources. You can draw from those, that is acceptable, particularly those the non-required, just like the recommended readings. So yes, you can use your textbook, but no, that cannot be it. I want you to go beyond that. I want you to be looking up fresh literature, using either things that are provided in the syllabus or things that you find in scholarly journals through the CUA library. Okay, so that's number 1, right? You're going to present the scholarly information on this topic. You're going to tell me about the topic and how it is or is not included in the code of ethics. So for example, maybe your topic is compassion fatigue, and you're wanting to understand not only what compassion fatigue is, but do we address that in our code of ethics? Okay, well, in that case, you might tell me about the 2021 revisions that were made to the code of ethics that highlight self-care. You might tell me about problems, how there's a limitation to our code of ethics in that it doesn't have anything about an organization's responsibility to prevent or address burnout and compassion fatigue. So you can tell me both what the code does and what it doesn't do. You can tell me about historically how it came about in the code, if that's relevant. And then the second part of your overall presentation is going to be a decision-making model application. So I want to say this again. I'm looking for the first half, you're teaching me about the topic, you're connecting it to the code of ethics. The second half is where you show me your skill in making an ethical decision about something related to this topic. You can find a vignette online or from someone else's practice. It does not have to be a case that you have addressed as it is in your papers, right? This can be a case that is a fictional case, but it needs to be a case where you are making a decision, where there is some form of dilemma that you have to make a choice around what you propose is the most ethically appropriate thing to do. So find a case vignette and then walk through Joseph's decision-making model, which you'll see soon, about this. So you're going to identify what is the core conflict, all right? So let's say maybe religion and spirituality is your topic. Maybe you come across a dilemma where you see a client seems to be spiritually bypassing, right? Maybe you've told us what spiritual bypassing means in your topic description. So here in the core conflict, you may say that you're trying to make this decision about, do I challenge the client on what they're doing? Do I accept the client on what they're saying? You could, I'm trying to think off the bat about how to frame that. You could look at it as varieties of cultural competence. So unpack some of the standards in the code of ethics around the standards for cultural competence, and I'm forgetting the exact ones, but there's like A through Z under there, and there are two that might be on either side. So create that core conflict, tell me what that is, ground it in either our standards, our responsibilities, or our values. Okay, you're then going to tell me about laws and policies applicable to this case. All right, maybe you're looking at a case pertaining to HIPAA or confidentiality. So you're trying to decide whether or not to breach confidentiality. Your core conflict is client well-being versus confidentiality. Okay, so then in laws and policies, you're going to probably tell me about HIPAA, specifically the policy clause. So look at that. You can also draw from your organization's policies if that is appropriate as well. Next, you're going to look at the ethical theories. So those are theories that we're covering this week, not developmental theories, not theories of human behavior. I want an ethical theory. Think utilitarianism, deontology, virtue ethics, egalitarianism. These are the types of theories that I want you to really think about and apply to your case. So you can use the theories that we covered today, or you can use a theory in the chapter where we look at social justice, in particular theories of justice. All right. Use an ethical theory that explains and helps you think about how you're going to make this choice. Still going on, you're still working your way through, you're showing me your systematic way of thinking about this complex ethical dilemma. The last thing that you'll present sort of is the values. So this is all background values. What are our profession's values, the client's values? What are the values that seem to be informing decisions and shaping your choices here? After all that background stuff, then you tell me about what are your two options. So perhaps the options come down to, I maintain confidentiality or I breach confidentiality. Okay, so those are your two primary options. You might talk through with a little more specificity what those options entail. And then here's the kicker. I want you to justify the choice you make. Okay, I chose to maintain confidentiality because the ethical theory of ethical egoism suggests that a client should do what they believe is in their best well-being. Maybe you say that, HIPAA mandates confidentiality except under certain cases, which this one does not fall into. Standards from the code of ethics, ... In other words, you're going to pull from all these things you've just presented to justify which choice you make. So here again, topic and code of ethics pieces is you teaching the class generally about your topic. And then the other half of your presentation is presenting a case that is a dilemma and showing us how to apply decision-making that is ethically viable. You do need to provide your references, and the written summary does not have to be an APA formatted paper, okay? Somewhere hidden in Blackboard, I think that's out there. We used to do that. You do not have to do that. What I want is something that your peers can print out and take notes on. So this can be a Word document that's just kind of an outline format, but something simple that your peers can take notes on. If you're working together, I'm going to look out for signs of collaboration. I want to make sure that you are talking to each other, that both partners are speaking and are presenting, and that there's equal ownership there. And I know it can be a little bit hard to be creative, but do your best here just to keep us kind of awake and engaged in what you're talking about. So do your best with creativity, whether it's the PowerPoint you use, if there's a small video, whatever, or an exercise you want us to do while we're doing the presentation, whatever it is, try and be creative. And of course, if you ever have questions, please know that I'm here. I'm very happy to talk through, whatever questions you may have or brainstorm with you. But I hope this helps. And presentations aren't due until weeks 6 or 7, depending on when you signed up. But please start now. Do not wait until the last minute, particularly because you have papers that start to roll in towards the end of the class also. So if possible, I really encourage you to get a start on your presentation now. Okay, that's it. Be well. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.